All right, be honest. Whenever y'all heard MCI training, how many of y'all were like, Jesus Christ? Oh, I love the honesty, because I would be the same exact way. Right? No, I get it. MCI is, oh, that's a beeping. MCI training's rough. I get it. And that's exactly why I don't make it difficult. This is a lot of interaction, a lot of cool videos, a little graphic, but a lot of give and take, right? This is a three-phase training. This is just the triage part, but I'm going to break out on how MCIs basically never go the way you want them to go. So triaging isn't anything new. It's been around for over 200 years. This is after doing enough of these trainings, I felt like I needed to put this together because everybody's got their own input on things. So I'm going to read this real quick. This is one form of practice, the triage structure that we're going to be doing. Each MCI is different. We have to be able to adapt, be deliberate with all your actions, don't go rogue. Use critical thinking skills. If something doesn't make sense and you're in the position to improve without compromising the structure, make the change. Communication shall fail every time. There's a good idea fairy. They'll show up both positively and negatively. You'll be in a situation where you're starting to transport prior to triage being complete because people are dying. Work with it. You'll be put in a situation that you're not comfortable with. Work with it. How do you eat a shit sandwich? One bite at a time, right? The MCIs that I'm talking about, guys, aren't these bus wrecks, right? Aren't these little fender benders where we got people that just want to be checked out? This is real stuff, right? It's very stressful. Stuff we don't want to see and stuff that is unfortunately happening in this world. It's just a matter of time. I think we can all agree on a couple things. It is a matter of time, and most of us probably aren't prepared for it. This is one of those things that we just don't train enough on. So please take this time, ask me anything, and we will all learn from one another. During an MCI, this is our wheelhouse: triage, treatment, and transport. Anything outside of that, we really shouldn't be doing unless you are specifically designated for that role. But pretty much everybody in here, this is going to be where we're at. So be the subject matter expert of whatever position that you're doing. Throughout this presentation, there's going to be gory pictures. There's going to be gory videos. Tell me now if you're offended by it. There's always one. Always one. Cover your eyes whenever it happens. So this right here is an audio of, who remembers Aurora, Colorado? The dude who went into the movie theater for the Batman release and he shot up the movie theater. This incident, from the time it got dispatched out to the time law enforcement got there, how long was it? Take a wild guess. So say it out loud. I'm hard of hearing. 8 minutes? 12 minutes? 90 seconds. Before law enforcement was on scene. 90 seconds. Right? And he was able to shoot, I forgot how many rounds, but he killed 9. Sir? So I was able to, with my absolutely horrible technologically advanced skills, I found the audio of the entire incident. It was 18 minutes long. I broke it down. This is going to be a 2-minute audio of everything, not everything, but what you're going to hear on an MCI. And I want you to take in, whenever you hear this, how chaotic this is. This is just a taste of something that hopefully we don't have to deal with.
25, let me have the air here a little bit. Lincoln 25, I need rescue to stage in the Dillard's lot. I need as many ambulances as we can to the Dillard's lot.
Copy. We'll have them stage at the Dillard's lot and send as many ambulances as possible.
I want my fire trucks there also, and I'll start bringing them in to triage people and get them out. I just need them to get ready and get litters to the front of Century 16, and we'll start getting people out.
Lincoln 25, copy.
302, I'm taking one male to the hospital in my car.
302, Adam, okay.
16, I got 7 down in Theater 9. 7 down.
Copy. We'll notify fire. 7 down in Theater 9.
Get me some officers in 9 so we can get the movable victims out.
Need more units in Theater 9.
I've got a child victim. That's Channel 2 and Channel 3. Channel 2 will be inside. Channel 3 will be outside. Dispatch, give me some ambulances on Sable. I want ambulances on Dillard's lot.
Copy. I'll let him know. Sable and Dillard's lot. Cruiser 11, go ahead.
Inside of the theater is secure. We're bringing out bodies now. Get someone to the back as soon as you can. Rescue personnel. I got at least 3 to 7 hits.
Copy. We'll get him to the back of Theater 9 as soon as we can.
Cruiser 26, this is info. We got a team and we're cleared in theaters on the north side.
Lincoln 25, I've got 1 ambulance here. Where are my ambulances at? Here.
We have ambulances staged in the northwest corner of the theater. Again, ambulances should be northwest.
Cruiser 25, the next ambulances come in. I'm going to direct them down to the east side of the theater. We need rescue or we need more patrol cars back to the east side. We're just going to take these people. Expedition, get down here. 16, 70 cars. I need somebody to 9 still. We're moving 5. Any available patrol car back here or an ambulance. Lincoln 41.
Lincoln 41.
We need rescue to move up to the rear of the theater. We have officers there. We're requesting they come immediately for multiple victims. Advise rescue that the officers will be there for security. That's the best we can do at this point.
Team 3.
Yeah, I got parents showing up saying they have kids involved that are being transported. Do we have a list of knowing where to direct them to what hospital?
Sir, unfortunately, no. We're using any available hospital.
That's what you're going to have to deal with. So, what are some complications, some issues? First, let's start off. Who's going to be incident command? Who's going to be in a leadership role? Put your hand up. I know I can already see you with wearing yellow, so. Anybody else? Where do you think you should be, Chief? Chief, Captain, what is it? Captain, where do you think you should be in something like this? Do you want to be in the middle of it?
You want to be where you can have a 360 degree point of view.
Yep.
But not in the middle of it. And I think that's what happened here too.
Yep. So what are some things we consistently heard? Where are they? Where what? They were. You're not. Yep. So they had them staged on the opposite side of the road at the Dillard's lot, the mall. The movie theater was on the opposite side. I don't know how Colorado's Aurora's EMS agency runs, but there's a serious question that we need to ask ourselves. Are you comfortable going in there? Because if you're not, okay, fine. We'll deal with that whenever we need to deal with that. But some people just don't want to go in there. I don't blame them. Some people do. They want to be gun-ho and be the first ones in there. I don't blame them either. So where are they? Well, do they have protocols and policies that say, we can't go in there until we have proper RTF? I don't know. What other constant things did you hear? Issues, things that you, whenever you heard this, what made it, things that came up into your mind?
Actually, the channel 2, channel 3 thing was, I thought, was pretty good.
Yep.
Let's split up communication just that outside. I thought that was very helpful.
Yep.
Some cops think that PTT on the radio is a push the thing, not a push the phone.
Does it just cops though?
Oh, no. But all we heard were cops.
Yes. Yep. So actually the person in command, the person that was talking initially was the, fire chief or whatever. He was the actual fire guy. And he did a great job trying to organize a chaotic situation. The very last part was we have parents. Are these things that we think about right out of the gate? Most people don't, but it is somebody's responsibility. If Captain here is just bombarded and it pops into your mind, you might want to send a text, because most people aren't going to be, you shouldn't be on the radio, because most people, unfortunately, aren't important enough to say what they need to say. Important things need to get out. We don't need to hear the unimportant things, right? Then I put in there that one officer was talking. You didn't understand a single thing that he said. Like, it's stressful. You need to be able to enunciate. Then I put it in there, another person who was incredibly stressed out. I got 7 people down. 7 people. Bro, this is stressful enough. Let's bring it down. Take that guy's radio away. All right? We don't need that. We have to be the ones that bring in that calm sense.
One of the comments in there too is he was saying that if we could try to set up triage instead of asking, maybe putting out like somebody, we have to set up triage somewhere. Don't leave it as an option.
Be assertive.
You got to tell them here's where it's going to go down.
Yep.
Until it doesn't.
Yep. If you're the one asking, hey, have we done? Guess what job you just got? That one. Right? You got to be assertive with this. Never assume. Clarify. I'm going to bring in a lot of different events, mass casualty events, just to hopefully get your mind out of the lens that we are typically used to. And I heard it from a couple of y'all, fender benders, a couple COs. Logistically, that's a little bit of a pain in the butt, but nothing major. So I'm going to bring to light some things that potentially can happen here. Hopefully never do. Nice, France. Does everybody recall around 2016? It was around Christmas time. A terrorist attack, a gentleman, he drove, it was July 14th, it wasn't Christmas time, is a cargo truck drove 1.5 miles down this road that was jam-packed for a festival. Injured 400 and something plus, killed 86. Where do you start? How do you start? That's 1.5 miles. What? Yeah. So what I want you to think about, because we'll get to the whole triaging part, is when you see an MCI or hear of an MCI, what I think about is, oh crap, this sucks. This is bad, right? And I want you to kind of remember that, oh crap, this is bad. And we're going to utilize that in our triaging structure, okay? Just put that in the back of your head. Where do you start? How do you do this? How do you get people out? Should you wait to be told to take a patient that's critical? What are your thoughts on that? Okay. Just take them?
Make sure somebody knows.
Let somebody know? What if you can't get out? Because 1.5 miles, just imagine that radio traffic. Call, text. It's all, the mass casualty and how this works is very, very subjective. We try and put in a organized way of doing something, but everybody has input on things. Everybody thinks they gotta have a better idea, or this situation didn't fit in the box that I was painted in, or that I was taught in. How do I overcome that? Nobody told me what I should do in this certain situation. How do you improvise? How do you adapt? How do you overcome with that? I think as long as my personal belief on it is, did you do the best for the greatest good for the greatest amount of people? I think that's something you should take into consideration. On your hot wash, on your debriefing, use it as a learning tool if you deviated from specific protocols.
If you just grab somebody and transport, are you doing that? I mean, in a lot of situations.
Definitely. Did anybody hear the part where the officer says, I am taking one to the hospital? Yeah, He can't wait on ambulances. Ambulances are either too busy, not getting the radio traffic because they're on a different channel. So, hey, it might behoove you to. What if you're incident command and somebody hands you a actively dying child that you know you can save because you have half a block to drive? What do? You're incident command. I don't know. What's that? Transfer command. How do you do that? Should you be if you're incident command, should you be the only one by yourself? Never. Ever, ever, ever. For these situations, you need to have your assistant with you, whoever that may be. And ultimately, whatever the situation is, incident command for fire, incident command for EMS, incident command for law enforcement should all be able to be rubbing each other's shoulders. They're that close to one another. And let everybody else do the job that they are taught to do. But you guys, all three of us, this is where we communicate, right? But don't worry, it sounds like a lot of hectic stuff. At the end of this, you'll be looking like this whenever you triage.
Let's go. Expected, morphine. Routine. Priority. He's gone.
We'll get you there. All right? Don't worry. We'll do enough rounds. All right, now let's actually start. We're going to discuss and understand how our patient flows through this incident. There's certain steps that this patient, in a best world, in a world that what am I looking for? Best case scenario, the patient needs to go from A to B to C to D to hospital. That's how it should go. Sometimes they go A to hospital, right? So we're going to understand how that organizational flow works. We're going to talk about the life threats, what we can treat, and which ones we choose to treat in the triage section. And then we're going to do a couple rounds of actually triaging. So, who am I? For those of you who don't know me, my name's Patrick. I've been in 911 for 20 years. I was fire for 2 years, realized I didn't like fire. I hate the heat, I hate the dark. Then I'm in EMS for 18 years and law enforcement for 9. I don't have any official incident command training. I have a lot of experience for someone who I was always a foot soldier. I was never a command of anything. Later in my career, I started taking steps to be in leadership roles, but for the most part, I've always been the foot soldier. So a couple things, I was the second ambulance in the Santa Fe shooting. Everybody remember Santa Fe? Whenever I showed up, I pulled up to the front. SWAT was walking out. Nope, nobody left. All right, cool. Then the deputy chief came in. He goes, hey, and we just did MCI training. You're staging manager. If we didn't do that, I would be so lost. So what did I have to do? Figure out who's coming, where are they staging, and what are their capabilities. And what's really bad about Santa Fe is they have zero reception. None. Cell phones didn't work. So I had to have somebody run for me. So I had a volunteer. Good on that, young buck. Hey, man, go tell them this. Write it down. Go on. After we moved from the staging area, I became one of the medics for the unknown family members. We had to go to a resource center. We were there for hours and hours because they can't release who the dead children are until FBI, DPS, Rangers are done with their investigation for the most part. So for hours and hours, you would have parents break, screaming, "Where are my kids? Where's my daughter? Where's my son?" That was the absolute worst thing to ever deal with. I'd rather deal with a pediatric CPR. So, heavens forbid you ever have to deal with that, but then you have to medicate them. I was the Benny Keith active shooter, which you don't hear about very often. This happened in 2016 in Stafford. There we go. It's in Stafford. I didn't even know. We get a call at 2 in the morning. They're saying active shooter. I'm still rubbing my eyes. Like, what are you talking about? Active shooter? So we pull in. Still, I get out. I'm like, what are we? I'm still exhausted. And one officer says, "Hey, the shooter's over here." Okay. Like, an officer's bringing us there, so I figure they're secure. I have an engine with us. Me and my brand new EMT basic go up. The shooter is of all people, Hispanic female. Not often you hear about that. She got in a shootout with the cops in the parking lot, and she lost. She was still breathing, though. So we get up. Okay, toss her on the stretcher. Hey, fire. They're gone. So me and my brand new EMT needed to get resources because we couldn't leave. We were pinned in. So how do we get people out? I don't even know the area. Everybody's gone. Fire's gone. Law enforcement's gone. They're still breathing. Hey, PHI's coming. Cool. Can you bring them over here? Nope, you need to drive over here. Awesome. So after that, had to come back and just be staging. It was an interesting call. During the freeze, Joe, I think you remember that. I had, you know how it took forever to get everywhere? I had a family of 11 had their generator on all night. But hey, they left the garage door open to the house, but left it closed to outside. But it's in the garage, but the door's open. Okay, doesn't make much sense. The scary part about this was on the call notes, they had 2 twin 8-month-olds and a 3-year-old. And I was right around the corner. Actually, you called me and said, "Get back in service." I remember that because we were right around the corner. So I had 11 patients, and I wish I had the video. They were all altered. None of them wanted to leave the house because it's absolutely freezing outside. So I run in, move, go. They all speak Vietnamese. Get out. Where's the kids? They're not moving. Scared as ever. Yep. Pick them up. They start crying. Great. Go, 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 go. Get out. Can anybody think of a problem with our patients are altered? Why are they altered? CO poisoning. What do they need? Oxygen. Get them out of the area. That's a hazmat. Get them out. Put them on oxygen. Guess what's frozen? The regulators. How do you fix that? I would not have thought of this. Hot packs? No. Exhaust. Finally, whenever one of the fire departments got there, we only had a couple tanks. We had plenty of tanks and only 2 regulators and 2 Christmas trees. So the 2 children were getting the O's. Regulators are frozen. He's like, "Hey, put them under the exhaust." I'm like, "That's your job, bud. Thank you," because I didn't think of that. So just put that in the back of your head next time you're ever in a frozen area and you need to undo those. I was on the stomp and drag team. During the day, it was fine. At night, they were throwing bricks at us. And we had patients. How do you deal with that? You're being actively attacked, but you have patients. Oh, they're asleep anyway. So how do you deal with that? Me personally, scooped that person up, jumped in an HPD car and said, "Let's go." I'm not getting hit with a brick. Our car was being pummeled. Greyhound bus, 21 patients. I've done multiple over 30 plus multi-jurisdictional active shooter trainings with FBI, DEA, DPS, SRT. I was during the Splashtown chemical exposure. I was the off-site logistical manager. So chemicals. What is a big logistical issue that I, again, didn't think of whenever you're transporting all around Houston for people who have respiratory issues that are coming off of an ambulance? Where are all of my O2 tanks and all of my regulators? Everywhere. How fast can we get an ambus here? Do we need to bring them to all these hospitals? And guess what the hospitals did for those who didn't want to go by ambulance? They didn't let them get into the hospital because it was a hazmat. Told them to come back. Giant logistical pain in the butt. So as you can see, I don't have Austin for that Chaz City crap. For my Swiftwater training, I was incident command. All of this is just on-the-job training. Nothing official. So don't take Patrick's word and be like, hey, Patrick said, because I got nothing behind my name. What's up?
Out of all those incidents with the local patients, how many times did you use the Texas and the Williams system?
How many times did we use the what?
MCI
Oh, yeah, right. No. And we'll talk about that and why. Tags are not very good because the tags we have and that are in the ambulances and engines, who's going to write all that? Like, I get it. It makes sense in theory. But I had another call with Joe. We had the two PDs that died on 45. We flew both of those. So we had like a total of like 7 or 8 patients, and we're dealing with the pediatrics and the other patients, and Joe's on a pen and paper. Hey, tape it to this one, pen and paper, tape it to this one, pen and paper, tape it to this one. Name, date of birth, if whatever information you can get, right? I appreciate those tags. You know, hey, let's write in a small box. No. Because what if I see everybody else leaving who's red and I'm a yellow? You know what? I'm going to tear that tag off. I'm red. Take me. All right? We got that human element to that. This was James Floyd. We were the very first, before it got this big, we staged, so this is how things never work out. As EMS, we were in a Greyhound bus right here. The stomp and drag guys walked here to protect the Capitol, and all of a sudden we saw this storm coming. And I told my partner, Donna, like, we're getting out. We're not getting behind this. Let's go. So we walked up here. This is probably the most intimidating thing outside of the night, but standing in front of all these people who hate you because you're a cop, very intimidating. What happens if somebody throws a pipe bomb over here? How do you do this? Do you know where you're at? I walked 7 miles in downtown Houston on the bad side. I don't know where I am. My comms don't go out. And luckily, my phone just broke, so I couldn't talk to anybody. Just dealt with it. All right, this is how we train. It's nice and calm, not stressful. We're smoking and joking, having a good time. So we fail to train in an environment that we are going to put ourselves in. Right? We never rise to the occasion. We always sink down to what? Our level of training. Right? I'm not going to become a brain surgeon because I watch, a couple TV shows. I have to train to that level. What am I doing? There we go. This is the real world. This was Virginia Tech, thank you. As you can see, we have multiple different agencies. Principal over preference, you got him out. Does it look pretty? No. Does he need shoulder surgery? Probably. But you got him out, right? Your hectic situation, you have 2 parts of your brain. Whenever it gets super shot, the front part of your brain's gone. Or super stressed, unless you train in that environment. That's not a real picture, but this is just a What happens if this thing derails? I'd hate to be the one writing that report. What's this? Boston. 2 separate locations. Can you imagine how long it took for that structure to come about? How many people you think wanted to try and help? Probably a lot. You saw pictures of just normal people throwing people on a wheelchair. You have to consider who these people are. Hey, if I'm going to ask you to put some put pressure on this, what if they have a loved one that they didn't realize was over there and they see it and they walk away? Like, these are just things, life happens. Things you don't consider. There's definitely going to be a learning curve. On most MCIs, large scale, which I'm showing you, you're not going to develop any form of structure for at least an hour. You're going to be asking, hey, where's my guys? Hey, where's this? Where's that? Where's this? Why isn't this happening? Some people aren't on the same wavelength as you, right? Who's familiar with first in, last out? This is more towards my medical. What do I mean by that? Yep. Yes, you're now the hospital of that section, right? A lot of times people want to, hey, I got the most critical, I need to leave right now. No, you got on scene first. You have the most information that you have gathered. Disseminate that information. Don't take all that information that you've gathered being there for the longest time and then go to the hospital. So first in, last out. And then we only treat life-saving injuries. Let's talk about some obstacles. Obviously, it's chaotic. I want to hear what y'all think some other obstacles may be. What's that? Entrance and egress. Who saw pictures of Columbine? Nope. Well, the parking lot jam-packed with officers. How do you get ambulances in there? How do you get fire trucks in there? What if it's an explosion and a fire? Big problem. And how do you communicate your ingress and egress? Not just at the scene, but at your staging location. What if your staging location is HEB and it's a Sunday? And then parents start to hear what's going on and they see ambulances. Where do you think the parents are going to go? Where the ambulances are, probably. Then they're going to start blocking the area. All this has happened, and it's a logistical nightmare. This is why I said you got to just deal with it, right? Give me something else. Give me some other obstacles that you might come across. What? Yelling? Oh yeah. Being torn in how many different directions? Because if my kid gets hurt, guess what? I'm getting the best doc. I'm getting the first ambulance, right? I'll be selfish. I don't blame other parents for feeling that same exact way. Hey, no wonder you thought of that. What else? Violence? Darn right. So talking about Uvalde, this is an actual picture. This is DPS tackling a parent who wanted to go into the school to save their kid. I think every single one of these guys should be hung out to dry, personally. Multi-jurisdictional response. What's the problem with that? Radios. Unified command, right? Everybody thinks that they're going to be the boss. Hopefully your egos are left not there. What if you have a captain of some other place that you know? What if a captain of HFD, but you're working community and we're at this really bad situation and your captain from HFD says, do this, but you're at community? Right? Could it happen? Sure. Hopefully it doesn't. Radio frequencies. Everybody wants to talk, right? I don't blame them. I'd want to talk if I got something urgent. Hopefully I know my job well enough to where I'm not going to get sucked into this. Westcom, good luck talking to them. Not only are they going to be bombarded with incident command, radio traffic, scene size up, families calling, their phones, their cell phones blowing up. If you don't have to be on that radio, don't be on that radio. Sir? Exactly. Task saturation. What is your job? What happens if you don't know your job? What happens if you finished your assigned job and you don't know what else to do, but the radio traffic's so bad you can't get out? What if you're transporting, your truck dies? What if you get in a fleet? They don't like us coming on a normal day, right? If something pops off, whew, just imagine how happy they're going to be, right? So think about having, hey, do we need a liaison to go to the hospital to just, for these non-critical patients, to sit on a wall with them so we can release our guys and gals? What? Is it the radio? Okay, cool. And then most importantly, we are all underprepared for this. This is kind of corny, but
there will come a time when you might have to decide who lives and dies out there. It's a terrible responsibility, but it is one you will have to make.
like I said, corny. But it can happen, right? You heard in Aurora, I don't know if you could understand the actual radio traffic, but they said, I have a child victim, but the other one, he was in SCBA because the dude was throwing smoke grenades. So fire comes in, SCBA, and it sounded, what he said was, I have organs coming out of her stomach. Right? What if that firefighter, or whomever that was on scene for so, hey, where's my guys? Where's my guy? I need somebody. Are you going to just be tired of watching this lady die and scoop her up and go? Again, just things to think about, guys. Or are you going to be just stand there and let her die? I'm not in that situation. So whenever I think of MCIs, what do we got here? Oklahoma City bombing. Who's less than, who's in their 20s? Who's older than 25? Okay. All right. So you had something, 800? Almost 800 injured, 168 deaths. Nice, France. Queen of the Sea train. You saw that, all the people on that train. That wasn't really it. But 1,500 dead. Oh. And then typically what we deal with, but hey, when's it going to happen? Hopefully never. Something we never talk about, and I added into this after Santa Fe, and I kind of touched base with it, was these were two of the family members that their child passed. So I did not deal with them. They were there. But no one talks about, hey, the emotional issue with dealing with something that traumatic. All right, we just hold it in. It is what it is. In all honesty, that was day one. I did 48s over there. That night, all I had was nightmares. Didn't run a single call the rest of the shift, thank God. But I knew I had stuff to deal with, so I went and talked to somebody. And I recommend that to anybody, because that is just an absolutely horrible, horrible thing to deal with. Here's another horrible logistical nightmare. Molasses flood of 1919. 2.3 million gallons, 21 dead. That looks like mud, but it's molasses. How do you even deal with that? Well, I'm going to go home. I'm going to call in sick. All right. So now that I kind of painted the picture of what real, true MCIs can look like, How do we give this information out? We arrive on scene. We're the first on scene. Who's familiar with LCAN? Location, conditions, actions, and needs. This is what we already do anyway. Medic 91, show me on scene at 1486 in Bel Air. I have a 2-car vehicle, multiple urgents. We're performing BVM. I need a supervisor in law enforcement. We do it anyway. But if I put an acronym to it, we kind of, LCAN, location, action. We kind of get a little stressed. Just recognize we already give this information out, okay? Location, conditions, actions, and needs. We have to let everybody know, incoming crews, what do we have and what do we need? So, 91 Westcom, show 91 established medical command. I'm in the cafeteria, A-Leaf Taylor High School. Condition, there's a structural collapse. I have 10 to 20 patients. What actions? With multiple urgents. Actions, I'm triaging and treating with tourniquets. Needs, I need 10 ambulances, ambulance, life flight, soup, squad, fire department battalions. The CCP or casualty collection point will be X, Y, and Z. Do I really need 10 ambulances? I don't know. But guess what? This is what burger joint is it? Order My Way. Was it Burger King? Have it your way? Whopper Burger or whatever? Whopper Burger. Order big, right? You can always turn people around. But if you, maybe 3 ambulances, and then these people start to crash, no. Bring them all. I want everybody. Who do you need? Everybody. Yes. That's what I need. Yes. And this is a big one a lot of people think of. Who's thought of it? In this conversation, who's really thought, ambulance? It's not common. Where's our ambuses around here? We got Tascasita, Fort Bend. That's it. How long is it going to take to get them here? If you're lucky. All right. So this is the flow I was talking about. So you have an incident, whatever it may be. Here's your patient. You're going to triage and treat, you're going to treat first with life-saving interventions. On your initial patient treatment, we are only treating the one thing that's going to kill them right here and now. What do you think that might be? Bleeding. Did somebody say bleeding? Okay, good. I heard bleeding. That's the number one thing. And the reason it's not airway is because you can still not have an airway. You can have an airway and bleed out, right? But if you have, how do you vice versa that? I don't know. What? Neither do I.
If you're not bleeding and you don't have an airway, you're kind of fucked too.
Yes, but you cannot have an airway for multiple minutes. You cannot have an airway for a long time based off of your medical condition. There's 4 preventable deaths in the battlefield. Let me put it this way. Bleeding, airway, tension pneumo, hypothermia. 4 things. There's a reason bleeding's number 1, because we can control that real quick, right? Tourniquets. If you need to pack the wound, pack the wound. That buys us time. We can get you an airway here later, but I have time if you don't have an airway. If they're bleeding out, they're going to die no matter what. I have time with an airway. That's why bleeding is the number 1 life-saving intervention that we're going to do. And I need to hear everybody say it because we're going to be doing this. What is the number 1 life-saving intervention we're going to do on our initial treatment? Stop the bleeding. Right? Who's done stop the bleeding, stop the bleed? Okay. Right. There's a reason that there's a lot of these simple trainings, stop the bleed, a lot of tourniquet training. How much airway training do you guys do? Not much, right? because our patients can last a little bit longer without an airway. They need blood to go round and round to live, though. So, the incident occurs. We control the bleeding. We bring them over to a casualty collection point. We bring all of our little men over. This is a triage manager. Since it's triage, we should probably have the subject matter experts, which are going to be medical, triaging these patients, right? They triage them right here. Throw the dead ones over there, or just leave them where they lie. We categorize them as green and red. This whole gray, orange hazmat, I'm not going anywhere near that. Yellow, it's already difficult enough. So, green, red, black. We put them over there. Then they move over to a treatment area. This is where we can treat anything that hasn't been already treated. If they need to be needle decompressed, if they need a nebulizer, because we're waiting on ambulances, right? We perform more of our treatments here. We put them in our categories. We re-triage them here, because if we've been treating them real well, we move them over to green. Or if they were green, now they're red. We just have a better way to organize our patients. Then we move them over to transport. Anybody can do transport. It's transport, right? What happens, this transport manager talks to Westcom and says, hey, staging. I need you to bring one of your ambulances over to treatment. And then the ambulance drives over, picks the patient up, and then they drive over to a hospital. And that's how it goes. Like my little PowerPoint thing there. Took me forever. And there's you triage your patients twice. Why do we want to triage our patients twice? They change, right? They change. What if I put a tourniquet on and it wasn't good enough? What if I packed the wound and the jarring of the patient moving them over to the casualty collection point, it came out? What if their sympathetic nervous system was so, hey, I'm good. All right, they're sitting down in the treatment area, and all of a sudden, I'm not good anymore, right? So this is why we need to triage them twice. All right. Hopefully I'm not working that day. Again, this is just I'm reaffirming what we're going to be doing, and I want you guys to pay attention to this because this is what we're going to be doing. You get on scene. You give your LCAN. What's an LCAN? All right. Location, conditions, access, needs. Show me medical command. Show me fire command. Show me incident command. Whatever. You have to establish command. Doesn't matter if you're nobody, somebody. You have to establish command. So people know who you are and who to talk to. This is not an ego thing. Because if I establish command, I say lieutenant. I'm sure whenever a captain shows up, there you go. If you see somebody who's running that show, who's your average Joe Blow, and they're doing a phenomenal job, should you take it over? No, they're doing a great job, right? You should probably sit there, take notes, and stay with that person if you're the captain and the ones in charge. But just because you have a higher rank doesn't make you better than the person already performing that job, whatever that job may be. So, you gave your LCAN, establish command. Now we globally sort. And then we do life-saving interventions. What do I mean by globally sort? Anybody understand what that means? Just the concept? I'm sorting my patients, and I'm globally doing it. You over here, you over here, you over here. Here's your patients. You get on scene, LCAN, you show up. Here's my LCAN. I'm command. Now I'm at the globally sort. How do we do that? If you can hear my voice, come to the ambulance, fire truck, put on a siren. I don't care. However you want to get people's attention so they can come to you, whatever that may be. The people walking, what are they? Walking wounded. Should you ignore them? Should you run 50 yards because you see somebody walking over to you? No, right? As they approach, like you're walking, okay, you good, you're green, nothing like you good, you green, okay, cool, you're squirting blood, here's a tourniquet, put it on, gotta go, right? No one says you have to do a full assessment on somebody because the purpose of triaging is to do the most good for the most amount of people. There you go. So globally sort. You got your walking wounded that are hopefully just greens. Everybody else is red until proven otherwise. What do we do with the blacks? Leave. Don't even. Hey, you're dead. You're dead. I'll deal with you later. Right? It's that simple. We will deal with them later. We don't have the resources to deal with it. So, scan the walking wounded. What I mean, just give a visual scan, right? Anyone with life threats should be considered, and we'll talk about life threats here in a minute. Everyone else is your immediate concern, right? Don't bring everything, all right? Which one's the EMT basic? If we were to bring all of our stuff, we have a casualty collection point, we have a triaging area. Where would we in this line, best case scenario, got your casualty collection point, treatment area. Where do you want to bring all your stuff? Where do you think the best resources can be put? Treatment would be my preference. You should bring assets and equipment and medical stuff to casualty collection point, because how do you get patients from a casualty collection point to your treatment? Stabilize them a little bit, right? And it also takes manpower. Is it going to happen like this? No, it takes time. So we have to have those assets, that medical treatment, to treat them here. So can we bring oxygen to this section? Sure. But in the initial phase of a trauma, we're just bringing your tourniquets, chest seals, things that are going to be really, really quick for life-saving interventions. So, hey, there we go. Start where you stand. There we go. And do your bleeding, life-saving interventions of bleeding control. All non-ambulatory patients, where they lie and walk, so that's just provide your life-saving intervention. So you're walking to me, squirting blood, arms gone, tourniquet. I go to this one. Oh, crap. Blah, 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 tourniquet. And you're walking to me. Hey, man, you good? Tourniquet. You're dead. Tourniquet. Wound pack in. Next. This is how it will look. Kind of. Only bring the equipment that you really, really need. Don't be the guy that, I'm going to bring my instrument thoracostomy kit. Now's not the time. Even though I would want to do it right then and there. I'm not going to lie. Do it quickly, because we want to do the most good for most amount of people. Awesome. Waste severity of injury against resources. So, if we have a burn patient that's 50% third-degree burns, or a GSW with brain matter, they're talking or moaning, but they got brain matter. What are we doing? I love it. I'm hearing different things. And this is why MCIs are so different, because so many people will say different things. For instance, you have an extremity arm that's cut off. It's bleeding really, really bad, but I put a tourniquet on it. And they're a carpenter. Oh, they're not even a carpenter, whatever. Their arm's gone. Are they red or are they green? Green, green. Anybody else say something different? Red, okay. And this is where, what's that? Okay, perfect. How hemodynamically stable are they? Did they get to you at the beginning, or did they get to you at the end? Right? What are our resources? Is this just 20 people where most of them are greens, legitimate greens? And this is the only red? So, hey, can we package them as red? It's subjective. And that's why after teaching this so many times, I had so many people, but what if? What if this is death? Right? And the short of it is do the most good for the most amount of people. It's that simple. Your judgment will be hopefully not questioned too much. Make a decision. Don't be indecisive. It's that simple. Okay? All right. And then we do life-saving interventions, and we'll get to that. So, here it is. What are they? Sorry. Bath. That's in our protocols. What does it stand for whenever it comes to trauma? Bleeding, airway, tension pneumo, hypothermia. That's the order in which we treat these patients. So, what is the only treatment that we're going to be doing large scale, mind you? If we have 150 people, I'm not taking out a blanket and covering you. Okay? What am I doing? Control the bleeding. I am saying this a lot. There's a reason. The other interventions after going into bleeding control, open the airway. We have a couple different ways to do that. If you have an NPA, pop it in there. Do not do an OPA. What other option can we do? Roll them. Left lateral recumbent position, the recovery position. If they're dead and you think they're dead, do you think it might benefit to roll them up? What if they're only dead because their tongue's in the back of their mouth? And you roll them over, and now they can breathe. It might be an option to roll them over on the left lateral recovery position. Respirations. We fix these, the actual breathing, by plugging the hole or poking a hole. Chest seal or dart. It's up to you, because there's no rules. If you see a pediatric that isn't breathing, if you want to give 2 rescue breaths, why am I doing that? Because pediatrics, number one cause of their heart stopping is due to respiratory. So if we can see a PD, give them 2 rescue breaths, are they breathing again? Maybe, maybe not. If they are, carry on. Do the next one. I say that like I wouldn't just, like it's going to be an easy decision. And do not do CPR. If anybody starts doing CPR, you're going to look like this.
Don't worry, I know CPR. I'll get the pills. Out with the battery. Out with the battery. This is a lot easier if you just lay back.
Looks pretty stupid, huh? Let's think about this, though. It can happen, and it does happen. Think about this. Maybe not the large scale, but what if we go to a shooting at an apartment complex and we only have 2 engines, but there's 6 patients, one of them being a PD, and you have a new in-charge medic or a new gun-ho engine crew, right? And they want to try and do the best for that kid, and they start doing CPR whenever you have a couple urgents. It happens. I've seen it happen. So we can kind of make a joke about it over here. But in the heat of the moment, somebody might just see the kid and, hey, it's a kid. But we might have to stop that, right? All right. I'm beating this into your head for a reason. Because this, again, if y'all saw the email, this is going to stack onto the next training. And the next training that we're going to do is who does what? Who does staging manager? Who does transport? Who does treatment? What does that entail? Who talks to who? Right? So, get on scene. What are we going to do? LCAN. I love it. All right. Then, establish command. Why? Why is that so important? The oncoming people need to know who's there, who to talk to, and if it is somebody who shouldn't be the command, let's hurry up and get there and we can pull them away. Or, what do you got? How can I help you? Globally sort. Start where you stand. How do you do it? You can hear my voice. Come to me. Those ones are your walking wounded. The other ones are your reds. Your initial triage, your initial treatments. What can you do? Bleeding control, tourniquets, right? Wound packing. And life-saving interventions. This is more towards your do not spend all the time in the world trying to locate for a needle decompression whenever you still got other people squirting blood. Again, this is subjective. I totally understand if it only takes somebody 5 seconds to pop a spear, find the location, dart, pull out. What am I going to do with my sharps now? Okay, there we go. I get it. So if I have had people had the argument of, but what if they have attention right now and I can save them? Okay, principle over practice here. We want you to do the greatest amount of good for the greatest amount of people. If you have time and you have resources and you know 100%, then you can pull that spear out, pop it, locate it, dart, pull. Next. Okay, that was 3-4 seconds. Okay, don't spend a minute doing this stuff whenever you should probably just be doing a tourniquet, right? I'm not going to tell you this is the only way you should do it. It's going to change every single time. Because I can tell you, whenever we practice, somebody's going to forget to establish command. It just happens. All right. Bleeding control, recovery position's huge, guys. Does anybody know what our triage structure is right now? What community uses? So, we use RAMP here right now. And I brought this up to Doc, and me being a cop, a firefighter came up with RAMP, right? So immediately I dislike it. Just kidding. No? Some of y'all? No? All right. So I've read it. It's okay, so if they have respirations, if they have AMP, basically it comes down to, if you're shot in the stomach, you're a green. I don't understand that. I looked at him like, I asked Doc, I'm like, hey, going off of RAMP, as long as you're not altered and bleeding everywhere, you're green. Like, what if you're impaled with something? So I came up with this, and I did. All I did was take salt and just use the words in there, and I'm like, because I'm not the smartest, I just made it work to my advantage, and I came up with the acronym CRAP and said, crap, that's bad. Remember whenever I said whenever we go to an MCI, what should we say? Crap, that's bad. Every patient you go to, you say, crap. Do they follow commands? Are they in respiratory distress? Is there arterial bleeding? Bad bleeding. Internal, external, don't care. And do they have a peripheral pulse? If you can say, crap, that's bad to any of them, they're red. Let me elaborate. Do they follow commands? No. Crap, that's bad. What color are they? Red. Is there arterial bleeding, internal or external? Yes, there's arterial bleeding. Well, crap, that's bad. Red or green? Red. Do they follow commands? Are they red? Oh, yeah. Respiratory distress. Are they in respiratory distress? Yes, they are. Well, crap, that's bad. What color are they? Red. Do they have a peripheral pulse? No, they don't. Well, crap, that's bad. What color are they? Red. Everything else is green. In my brain, I'm like, that just makes sense to me. So, I'm going to do it again. You go up to your patient. Do they follow commands? No. Well, crap, that's bad. Red. Come over this one. Hey, man, where you at? Crap, that's bad. They're red. Go to the next one. They're squirting blood. Crap, that's bad. What color? Red. Hey, man, you don't have a foot. Crap, that's bad. What color is it? Red. To me, in my simpleton mind, that makes a lot of sense. Instead of standing there and trying to check a pulse, and we got to wait 30 seconds. And then I'm going to sit there and count your respirations. Hopefully I can count over 30, wait 30 seconds while somebody's screaming at me. Why are you just staring at them? Well, I'm supposed to count their respirations. Okay? So, again, whenever you go up to your patient, if you say, crap, that's bad to any of it, what color are they? Red. And what does it stand for? You follow commands. Are you in respiratory distress? Is there arterial bleeding? And what do I mean by that? Bad bleeding. It doesn't even have to be spurting. Your leg could be swelling up and you're like, oh, that's probably blood. That's bad. Put a tourniquet on it, right? And is there a pulse? Do they have peripheral pulses? No, they don't. What color is it? Red. So some examples of that. The dude who chewed on a blasting cap. Tension pneumo. They're going to be in what? Red because of what portion? Respiratory distress. Shortness of breath. Yep. Or active bleeding. So here's, again, subjective. Crushing chest pain. No shortness of breath. History of MI. Yeah, bro, here's a red. Good luck. All right, that's what I would do. Burn patients. 3rd degree on their arm. Circumferential. Peripheral pulses. What do you do? What's that? Yep. Good. Hopefully I'm not that transport manager, all right? Well, I'll probably be one of those. Oops. Hey, it's a judgment call. Got to make it, right? You can't incorporate every single patient. Somebody having a seizure. Are they following commands? That's a red. That one's kind of easy. Levels of red, though. Somebody who's just postictal versus somebody who's significantly short of breath. You have to have good judgment. Don't put the new EMT basic making these judgment calls. Put someone there who understands the critical patients versus the non-critical patients. So this is where using your resources appropriately will work out in your benefit. the dead, the ones who aren't moving. You opened up the airway, nothing. If it's a child, you can potentially do what? 2 rescue breaths and leave them in a position to where they're not going to close their mouth. Just because you're labeled black doesn't mean you're dead. You're dead when you're dead. And I mean that by, does anybody know who this gentleman is? Colonel Charles Beckworth. He created this kind of small special forces team, Delta, not a big deal, right? He was part of the group that created them. He was tagged black twice on 2 separate occasions. One of them after he was shot in the stomach with a .50 caliber. I'd want to be dead, right? They were literally zipping him up in the... He popped up. No joke. You can read about that. Not somebody I'd want to mess with. Think about getting shot in the stomach with that, and the dude's still kicking. So they tagged him twice in 2 separate occasions black, but you're not dead until you're dead and dead, right? So after the whole triage, the whole tagging situation, hopefully we'll get some ribbons. They're a lot easier to use. Something you can take away with this, which side do you put the tagging your patient on? Right side. Whenever you're done tagging them, because you should update whomever your boss is at that time, whether you're the triage boss or whomever, tear off a piece of your tag that you just tagged them with, put it in your pocket. So whenever you go up to the triaging manager and they say, what do you got? I have 15. Because who carries a pen with them all the time? Some of you might, but we all know that one person that says, you got a pen? What are your platform's capabilities? Being that staging manager, whenever we start to do that, you need to make contact with whomever is driving that bus or ambulance or deuce and a half, whatever. Are you an ALS or BLS? We had Life Flight, Atascocita, Galveston, Fort Bend, Santa Fe only has like 2 ambulances, and they're volunteers, and this happened early morning on a weekday. Who has what? Volunteer fire departments. They'll get there when they get there. What are your capabilities? I need to know because I need to let the transport. Oof, I only got 1 ambulance. That's an ALS. You get 1. Cool. I'm going to put 1 red on there. Well, can that ambulance take? How many greens can that ambulance take? How big's the MCI? Shoot. Put them on the bumper. Take them up. I don't care. During Harvey, we had an employee prior to coming into our other job. They had like 9 people in the back of the ambulance transporting to a hospital. You think they did those reports? Heck no. There's no reports in MCIs, right? You're lucky to know who you have, what you have. Do with it the best you can. If it's a hazmat, it's about as close as I'm getting. I'll let y'all decide all that, right? If you look like this and everybody else looks like that, not good. Get out. Pay attention. All right, let's wrap this up. And then we're going to watch a quick movie of how it should look. So, get on scene. What's your LCAN? Awesome. How do we globally sort? If you can hear me, come to me. Who do we triage first? The walking wounded, whoever comes to me, whoever is in my, oh, you're closer, okay. Well, you, whoever's in my range. What life-saving interventions can we do with our initial bleeding control? Why? We want to do the most good for the most amount of people. If I spend too much time trying to crike somebody because I've never criked before, but it's a crushed airway, stop doing this. Go plug the hole on somebody else. All right, and do your individual assessments. What is C? Follows commands. What is R? Are they in respiratory distress? What's my respiratory distress versus your respiratory distress? I don't know. Are they in it? Do you think they're in it? Tag them red. What we don't want to do is move the mass casualty to one hospital. And that's where the transport manager has really good communications with Westcom, because we need to know what hospitals have what capabilities they have, if they are capable of taking X, Y, and Z patients, even though they don't typically take it. You know, for the 11 patient carbon monoxide poisoning, Texas Children's in the Woodlands. It's like, yep, I can take them. This is Texas Children's. They were talking about the adults. I didn't know that. I mean, it makes sense. It's a hospital. They should be able to, right? But that's not something you think about because it's a children's hospital. They were willing to do it. And I kept making contact and updating at the time comm center. Like, hey, we have, it was 11 reds, it was like 8 reds and a couple yellows. And finally got a couple of ambulances and I would just rotate, go back in. How are we doing? Are they improving? Cool. So now we have this many reds. Great. So I contact, hey, we have this many. We have this many. We have this many. I want to inform them of what we have. Take the cognitive overload off of me. This way it's also documented and time stamped. So it looks better for me whenever I do my report. All right. If you say yes to crap, because crap is what? Bad. And what gets bad? What color? Red. So everything else gets green. We want to triage patients twice. Why? Because they change. They improve, they get worse. We don't want to over triage. What I mean by that is not everybody needs to be red, because we don't want to move an MCI from the grounds that it occurred at to one hospital. Disperse all those people out, right? Can we bring an ambulance? With all these CO patients, can 20 of them sit in that ambulance and suck down oxygen for the next hour and be okay? Maybe, maybe not. Don't do CPR. All right. This is a quick 15-minute video of how, in a perfect world, this should look.
Who's in charge of guns?
This one's ready, yeah.
What's your emergency?
Engine 55, Medic 496, pedestrian hit by vehicle, Lobby Boulevard and Academy Drive, command contact.
Ventura Engine 55 is on scene. Single vehicle rollover into a crowd.
Ventura copies, Engine 55 on scene, single vehicle rollover into a crowd.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and start triage. Get back to me with what you need.
Ventura Engine 55 with a size up. So we have approximately 10 victims, 1 trapped. Upgrade this to a heavy rescue response and add 1 engine, 1 ambulance, and 1 EMS supervisor. This is a level 1 MCI.
Ventura, copy engine 55, on scene reporting approximately 10 victims with 1 patient trapped. Copy on upgrading this to a heavy rescue. Copy additional resources. Copy level 1 MCI. This will be the bloody incident.
If you can hear my voice, you can walk, come to me. If you can hear my voice, you can walk, come to me. Are you okay?
Medic engine 5, engine 61, truck 54, squad 50, medic 504, medic 497, medic 693, EMS 44, EMS 51, battalion 12, battalion 54. Respond to the bloody incident, level 1 MCI, Levy Boulevard at Academy Drive, command 5.
Sit her down, please. Sit her down. Have a seat.
Okay, do me a favor. I'm going to put this around your hand, okay?
Guys, we got an MCI going. We got approximately 10 patients. So I'd like to assign you MedCom, and I'll have your partner assist my crew with triage.
Put this around your arm, okay? Hold pressure on that wound, okay?
Hey, Chief. You know, we've got a level 1 MCI going, about 10 patients right now, no specific information yet. I've assigned MedCom, and the other medic I've assigned to assist my crew with triage.
Pat, why don't you take on triage unit leader responsibility? With that, I'd like a more accurate count on the number of victims and their categories, and oversee the movement of all those patients into the treatment area. Here are your folders. Go to work, and I'll back you up with the group soup as soon as I can. You okay? Okay. Just here on here, okay? We're about to help you in a minute, okay?
CCEMTB base at 1135, go ahead.
AVCMC base, this is medic 491 with a level 1 MCI. How do you copy?
Loud and clear, 491, go ahead.
Okay, we are currently at the intersection of Durley and Post with approximately 12 victims that are in the process of being triaged.
Copy all that, 491. I'll start calling for bed availability. Please call us back when triage is complete. KCMC clear for now at 1136.
All right, guys, what do you have?
I have 3 minor, 1 delayed.
I have 2 immediates.
2 immediates.
I have 1 delayed and 1 deceased.
1 delayed and 1 deceased.
All right, Chief, I've got some more information for you. I have a total of 2 immediates, 2 delayed, 3 minors, and we have 1 deceased.
2 immediate, 2 delayed, 3 minor, 1 DOA for a total of 8 patients.
Correct. You know, I could probably use another engine company, especially for the immediates.
I'll get you 1 more engine, so go ahead and go back to work, and I'll call these spots as soon as I can.
All right, copy that.
Ventura, Bloody IC. Triage is complete. We have 2 immediates, 2 delayed, 3 minors, 1 DOA for a total patient count of 8, and MedCom is established. I'm assigning you as the treatment unit leader. Your vest and clipboard are on the hood of my vehicle. I need you to identify and establish the treatment area and get back to me with resource requests. Hi Mark, I'd like you to take on patient transportation unit leader. We have 2 immediate, 2 delayed, 3 minor, 1 DOA, so we have 7 to transport. And we have a total of 4 ambulances either on scene or en route. Let me know what additional resources you need. MedCom is in place with 491, and I have a vest and clipboard up front for you.
CCMC base, go ahead.
AVCMC base, this is medic 491 is MedCom. This is with the follow-up call on our MCI in Camarillo. How do you copy?
Alright, copy you loud and clear, go ahead, 491.
Medic Engine 2, I'm assigning you to the treatment unit. Report to Captain 61, he is the treatment unit leader.
You're going to be ambulance coordinator, and I need you to identify an ambulance staging area.
Hi guys, I want you to work at ALS in the treatment unit. Report to Captain 61, he is the treatment unit leader.
Ambulance coordinator,
Go ahead and move into the patient bleeding area.
All right, you guys ready? 2, 3. You guys ready? 2, 3.
Yes. Thanks to St. John. St. John brought their expecting you had contacted. Alright.
Go ahead and sit in the end there. Okay. Yeah.
Ventura, Levy IC, all patients transported, incident complete, all equipment released.
So in a perfect world, that's kind of how it should work. And we're going to watch that video again next training to really hammer out what each individual role is. Any questions? Okay, we're going to do a couple of these. We're going to take about a 10-minute break, and then we're going to do 2 scenarios where I'm going to need victims, or we're going to do rotations. All right, multiple gunshot wound at a local sporting event. These are, it's 1 ambulance, 8 casualties. You're the first on scene. What do? LCAN, which is? Awesome. Then what? Establish command. You have 2 walking wounded, 3 people that wave, and 3 people that are still. You have a 29-year-old male, GSW to the left chest, radial pulse is present, severe respiratory distress. What color? 8-year-old female, GSW to the head through and through, visible brain matter, respiratory rate of 4, radial pulse presence. Dead or red? Again, she didn't meet criteria because, hey, she had a respiratory rate, but does she follow commands? No, so red, but visible brain matter. What are our resources, right? Just got to make your decision. 50-year-old male, GSW to the abdomen, chest, and extremity, no movement or breathing. 14-year-old male, GSW, upper right extremity, active severe massive hemorrhage with good pulses. What should you do first? Stop the bleeding. There you go. 65-year-old male, severe chest pain, diaphoretic, obvious respiratory distress, no GSW. 22-year-old female, GSW to the right lower extremity, good pulses, no active bleeding. Why did I put red? I don't know either. Well, GSW to the right extremity, no visible bleeding. And again, this is, go ahead, Joe.
You've got compartment syndrome, you've got some other things that can still do the blood loss just because you don't see it on the outside.
So this is one of those. If you have a GSW to the right leg, am I going to put a turn? I don't know. Like, is it too high? Is it high? Is it just on the meat? Right? The only problem is I actually had a crew come to me and said, hey, because it was a GSW to leg. She kept crashing, and we didn't put a tourniquet on her, but her leg kept getting bigger. And then they asked me, did we kill her? Yes, you did. You did. You didn't put a tourniquet on it, right? This is has too much ambiguity to it, so I understand if you choose green versus red. Superficial, 29-year-old male, superficial GSW to the skin of the left upper extremity. 37-year-old male, GSW to the left hand, exposed muscle, tendons, bone fragments, peripheral pulses present. All right, you done triaged. Another ambulance arrives and transport 2 of your reds. Your partner is providing care to the other immediate patients. What do you do next? Always, always, always. You should never just be twiddling your thumbs on an MCI. There is something to do, right? And if you don't know what to do, guess what you do? Ask. Find work, right? Where do you start? Let's walk through this one. How the shooting is stopped, but you don't know if it's secure. Are you showing up to this? Yes? Joe says yes. Okay. So you show up in an ambulance or a supervisor vehicle. What if your partner doesn't want to go? Okay. Joe says stick together. I don't know if I would.
Here's the thing. I'll grab your RTF tag and make him staging boss or whatever.
Okay.
Down the street.
So, Kat, who's the leaders in here? I need you to show yourself. So we got 1, 2. Okay. You have an ambulance crew that wants to go into an active shooting. They're a good crew. What do you tell them? Okay, you say put your vest, okay. Anybody else say different? You say no. Okay, what does policy say? Secure the scene. Who secures the scene? You mean first responders? Hey. So PD has to secure it. So.
But in this condition, you'll never be able to convince me that the scene's totally secure. Because, yes, there was one building involved. You can never tell me that you can check all the buildings around that had field of view, and there was just one person. So, I would say you're at some point, you're going to have to just make that commitment. See what happens.
This is just a tiny aspect of a picture in a scenario that we have zero understanding about other than what we heard. And we can sit here and have different opinions and different feelings and want different actions. So do you think it's going to run smooth? No. It's never going to go the way you want. If it's Uvalde and their kids, what if it's all kids? What are you going to do? Sit there because captain said no? Oh. Me and God will have that conversation later, right? What's policy? Like, these are things you got to take into consideration, okay? And I say all that just so you know, no matter how much training you get on MCIs, you will never train enough for every single instance, and it's not going to go awesome. Very good. Yes. Yep. So, improvise, adapt, and overcome. Stay off the radio if you don't need to be on it. Triage effectively. Does anybody have any questions?